John chapter 6, verses 5 to 9, lifting up his eyes then and seeing that a multitude was coming to him, Jesus said to Philip, "How are we to buy bread so that these people may eat?" This he said to test him, for he himself knew what he would do. Philip answered him, 200 denarii would not buy enough bread for each of them to get a little. One of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, said to him, "There is a boy here who has 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. But what are they among so many?" The problem. Lifting up his eyes, the Johannine Jesus sees a throng, a multitude coming to him. And he speaks to one of his disciples, Philip, the one we met way back in John chapter 1, verse 43. Remember that? Yes? Where was Philip from? Bethsaida.
That's the one you met from the tree?
No, that's the one who introduced him to Nathanael, the guy he had met under the tree. Mark chapter 6, verse 37, Jesus said to them in reply, this is the Markan version, "Give them some food yourselves." But they said to him, "How are we to buy 200 days' wages worth of food and give it to them to eat?" Mark chapter 8, verse 4, his disciples answered him, "Where can anyone get enough bread to satisfy them here in this deserted place?" Matthew chapter 15, verse 32 to 33, Jesus summoned his disciples and said, "My heart is moved with pity for the crowd, for they have been with me now for 3 days and have nothing to eat. I do not want to send them away hungry, for fear they may collapse on the way." Notice, on the way. What did early followers of Jesus call themselves?
The way.
Followers of the way. Why do we have to eat on the way? We may collapse if we don't have food. What's the food we eat along the way? The early Jesus groups, what was the food that they ate? This story has, in all its forms, massive Eucharistic overtones. Do you think that that's stage 1 or stage 3 in the various communities? Stage 3. The disciples said to him, "Where could we ever get enough bread in this deserted place to satisfy such a crowd?" Unlike Jesus in the Synoptic Gospels, the Johannine Jesus takes the initiative, indicating his concern that the people be fed. A question that Moses asked of Yahweh in the desert is recalled. Numbers chapter 11, verse 13. "Where am I to get the meat to give all these people?" Now, it's very interesting in Hebrew and Aramaic. The same word for bread is the word for meat and all food, lachem. You know, there's a place called the house of meat. It also means the house of bread. It also means the house of food. Beit lachem. You remember that place? Yeah. Sandwich shop, did you say? Marco, he's in food and services. I love you, Marco. All right. Yet the Johannine Jesus concern is rhetorical. In a crucial aside, the narrator informs the audience that Jesus knew what he would do. The question of the Johannine Jesus, how are we to buy bread so that these people may eat, tests the loyalty of his disciples. How well did they do on the test? Good or pfft?
Poor.
Evelyn.
If they only had
Poor.
100 dinars, they would be an artist. But if they didn't,
Are these guys elites? Do they have that expendable income, surplus income? No way. So the only chance they have of being anywhere near related to a great broker is an alternate reality. Because in consensual reality, they got two things, Jack and Squat. And Jack just left town. Philip's response is limited to the material bread. This is exactly what Lucy's saying. that one would need to feed such a multitude? John 6, verse 7. Philip answered him, 200 denarii would not be 200 days' wages would not buy enough for a manual laborer like us, would not buy enough bread for each of them to get a little. These are peasants. Recall that the disciples were present with Jesus. You all remember they were present with Jesus back in Samaria. They come see him talking to the Samaritan woman. You remember that? And they're shocked. Oh my God, he's with a Samaritan woman who is worse than a perpetually menstruating woman, an Israelite woman. And he's with her. It's more unclean than that. And they're lost. And she walks away, and they go, eat something. Rabbi, eat something. And he goes, I have food to eat about which you do not know. And they're like, he hasn't eaten anything, has he? Like, has the Samaritan woman brought him food? That would be horrific. So you recall, back in Samaria, Jesus spoke about true nourishment that he had from his unconditional acceptance of the will of the one who has sent him, the patron to Israel, back in John chapter 4, verses 32 to 34. You all recall that? Philip appears to have not learned from that encounter. He has not progressed from that. He's still back in Samaria like, huh? He doesn't get it. John chapter 6, verses 8 to 9. One of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, said to him, there is a boy here who has 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. But what are they to so many? Let's see if Andrew's done any better. What do you think? Has Andrew progressed from the first days? Remember, he was with the unnamed disciple. He was the first of the 2 disciples to follow Jesus. John the Dunker said, go follow him. Remember that? Andrew appears to have not understood Jesus when he spoke to the disciples about nourishment back in Samaria either. Andrew joins Philip in pointing to the paucity of their supplies. A boy in the crowd has 2 fish and 5 barley loaves. Meaning, he's not saying, yeah, everything's great. He's saying Hakuna Matata in its proper expression. You know, Hakuna Matata means really, in Ugandan, it means it can't get any worse.
Really?
That's what it really means. It doesn't mean it means no worries because we're done for. That's what it really means. It hasn't rained in 40 days, Hakuna Matata. 70% of us have AIDS, Hakuna Matata. Here comes Boko Haram, Hakuna Matata. Yeah. Andrew and Philip have been with Jesus from the very beginning, right, of the Jesus movement. Chapter 1, the origins. And to be honest, because this is John, that means in John, they've been with him from the first days of the Johannine anti-society, correct? Yes? But they have not learned from their master's attempt to draw them beyond the limitations of their expectations. Wow, is this an important lesson for Catholics today?
Wow, yeah.
In this case, they can't go away and expand from the need for a large sum of money to buy sufficient quantities of bread. They have not learned this lesson at the end of chapter 1 that Jesus told Nathanael. Jesus answered, do you believe because I told you that I saw you under the fig tree? You will see greater things than these. And he said to him, Amen, amen, I say to you, you will see sky vault opened, and the angels of God ascending and descending upon the sky vault man. Nevertheless, the raw material for the events to follow have been provided. The loaves and the fish. The audience of John waits for Jesus' action as he himself knew what he would do in verse 6b. Hey, thanks for watching. Just continue the playlist for the next part of the study. If you have further questions, this is good. They will get addressed, so keep watching. If you found value, please subscribe, like, and share. As always, questions, comments, and criticisms are most welcome. God bless you.